common questions that I get on my channel are often related to gout. Does the carnivore diet give you gout? Does eating a lot of red meat give you gout? Maybe. Let's talk about it. Just before we get started with this video, guys, we are this close to 25,000 subs. So if you haven't already, please smash that subscribe button so that we can get to 25k together. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. So what is gout? Gout is inflammatory arthritis, and it causes severe joint pain. It most often starts in the big toe. And one of the scariest things about gout is that it comes and goes. So you can be pain-free for a long time, going about your business as normal, and then suddenly get a flare-up. The most common way to manage gout is to manage your exposure to the risk factors, which, as you'll see when I show you the list of risk factors, is easier said than done these days. Anyway, it's important to note that I am not a doctor, and nothing in this video is or should be taken as medical advice. Actually, I'm a computer programmer, and one of the things I love about computer programming is understanding why computer code is not working correctly. Understanding the nuanced circumstances of when bugs happen in code so that I can put in a proper fix. And this is partly why I like talking about health and diet. It's really interesting to drill down on a health problem and try and understand the complete context so you can make a guess at why that health problem might be occurring. So again, not a doctor, so this is not medical advice. Please don't take any action as a result of anything you see in this video. Let's now look at why people might be asking if red meat causes gout. These are the risk factors for developing and having subsequent attacks of gout from the CDC website. Being male, being obese, having congestive heart failure, having hypertension, having insulin resistance, having metabolic syndrome, having diabetes, or having poor kidney function, using diuretics, drinking alcohol, eating or drinking foods high in fructose, eating red meat, seafood, and organ meats. So, we can see that red meat and seafood are listed as a risk factor. Due to the higher purine levels in these foods breaking down in your body's uric levels are going to rise. And if these uric levels don't come down, they can form crystals that cause the gout in your joints. So if red meat is a risk factor, isn't the carnivore diet a big problem? Isn't the carnivore diet a gout antagonist? I don't think it's as easy to say. Remember how I talked about understanding the nuanced circumstances of bugs in computer code? It's the same with health. The food industry, medical professionals, pharmaceutical companies, and health bloggers all treat the general public as if we are stupid. They assume that we can't appreciate the context, the details. They assume that we can't hold more than one thought in our heads at a time. And so, over the years, health advice has become more about sloganeering than actually delivering the facts. Case in point, it's easier to say fat is bad than to say some fats, like trans fats, are bad. And when we, as the general public, aren't given the opportunity to appreciate the full context of a situation, what do? We try to exclude all fats. We end up eating high sugar products that are labeled as low fat or no fat. Welcome to an obesity epidemic. So let's look at these risk factors again. Being male, being obese, heart failure, hypertension, insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, poor kidney function, use of diuretics, drinking alcohol, eating or drinking high fructose foods, eating red meat, seafood, and organ meats. And when we look at red meat in this context, suddenly it doesn't look as bad. In fact, it could be argued if red meat is bad and it's a risk factor for gout, then we can make exactly the same argument about fruit. Because fruit is fructose, another risk factor. And unless they're withholding more information, there's nothing to show that red meat is any more of a risk factor than fructose. And I would imagine fructose is the bigger threat. Let's look at my case on the carnivore diet. Being male, Yes, this is one thing I can't escape. Being obese? No. Congestive heart failure? No. Hypertension? No. Insulin resistance? No. Metabolic syndrome? No. Diabetes? No. Poor kidney function? No. Using diuretics? No. Drinking alcohol? No. Eating or drinking foods high in fructose? No. Eating red meat? Yes. So out of all of the risk factors, doing the carnivore diet, I satisfy 2. So I think my chances of getting gout are probably pretty low, relatively. What about my situation before I went on the carnivore diet? Which is probably an example which reflects more closely with the general population. Being male? Yes. Being obese? No, but I would have got there eventually. Congestive heart failure? No. Hypertension? No. Insulin resistance? No. Metabolic syndrome? No. Diabetes? Yes, if you include pre-diabetes. Poor kidney function? No. Using diuretics? No. Drinking alcohol? Yes. Eating or drinking foods high in fructose? Yes. Eating red meat, seafood or organ meats? Yes. So a little over 9 months ago, I had 5 risk factors. Now I only have 2. I'd say the carnivore diet is keeping me pretty good. Again, this is not medical advice, but I hope I've drawn attention to the fact that focusing on one risk factor for any particular condition and ignoring all the other risk factors is not a good way to consider your health. Guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe, and if you enjoy my videos and you'd like to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member. Click the join button under this video or the first link in the description. Thanks again, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.